simply write hello from and then your location. It should ping you on the map. Alrighty, well, we clearly have some setup issues here. All of the fancy stuff that I did last week got broken because I rearranged graphics and forgot that meant that it rearranged my presets. But that's okay. That's okay. All right, let's make sure that the volume is good. I think we are hearing me okay. Get my monitor up a little bit. Yeah, that's better. You guys can hear me fine, I do believe. And hello. Welcome to another PhotoJoseph live show sponsored by YoloLiv. We are going to be talking about all kinds of cool YOLO stuff today. There are 3 really neat features that we're going to dive into. I'm going to show you all about. But of course, long before we get into that, let's just get a quick little hello. Let's see who's in the comments. And let's see, I'll get rid of the viewer map. We don't need that anymore. And let's just start rolling through them from the top. We had Alonzit in Italy. Uh-oh, why is that not? Auto triggering off. There we go. We do it manually. Hello from Italy. Well, hello to Italy. I should make this a little bigger. It feels a little small on the screen. Let me just see. I'm going to adjust the size of that because I can. And to do that, how I do that would be like this. So I went into, just in case you're wondering, let's see, I'll go back. So here on the comments page, if I tap on this little guy here, I can make some changes to the things that are on here. Here we go. Just the general size, make that a little bit bigger. And I suppose now we have to slide it over a little bit, maybe up a little bit. Probably a good idea as well. There we go. There we go. Let's see how that works out. Okay, done on there. Tap that on again. Hello from Italy. A little bit bigger, a little bit better, a little bit easier to read. So hello to you. Morning from Enterprise, Alabama. I did not know that there was a city called Enterprise, Alabama. Isn't there one called Surprise? Or is that not Alabama? There's something that tells me that I know there's a city in America called Surprise. Alabama? I'm not sure. Maybe not. Maybe not. Poland, a little bit closer to my time zone. Hello in Poland. Good evening to you, an early evening. I hope your weather is as lovely as ours, although it was raining earlier today, but it's getting nicer. It is getting nicer. That was me telling you that I totally forgot to make the stream public. I'm like, got everything. I start the stream, look over, 0 people. That's kind of odd. Go to check. Oh, whoops, it's still unlisted. And I know that I set it to public earlier. So apparently I set it to public and didn't hit save, which now makes me think, what else didn't I save in here? Hopefully all the description and everything that I wrote is still there. Yep, that's there. So, okay, well, who knows? Can't get them all right. Okay, hello from Trinidad and Tobago. Well, that's new. Excellent. Well, welcome. I'm glad to see you here. Very cool. It's somewhere I have not been. Welcome. Have a nice stream. Thank you, Vangelis Thessaloniki. I could say the name if I actually read it and thought about it. In Greece. Hello to you. Okay. That's enough of the hellos. That is the hellos. We're out of here. So let's get a quick little intro to what the show is all about, and then we'll roll on into the meat of it. So again, I am PhotoJoseph, just in case you've never been here before and you're like, what is this show? I am a photography, filmmaker, YouTuber kind of a dude. Yes, I'm old. I've been doing this for a long time, and it's kind of fun. The live thing we used to do huge back in the day. Dropped it for many, many years and just recently got back into it. And I'll tell you, I'm still finding my feet in doing live. It is a talent which has, some of it has escaped, but it's coming back. It's coming back. This show is sponsored by YoloLiv, which means pretty much all the gear that you see is a YoloLiv bit of kit, including the camera. Starting with them, this is the YoloCam S7, which is a Micro Four Thirds time-of-flight LiDAR camera, which means I can do things like, I don't know, give me something to, I'll use a color chip chart because that's here. Let's get one that has color on it. There we go. So I can do things like this, and look at how quickly it focuses. Isn't that fabulous? It is time-of-flight LiDAR, all that stuff. Very cool. So I've got one of those there, and I've got one here, which is my top-down camera. This one I actually have autofocus turned off on because the glass on there can confuse the LiDAR. Then there is another camera, third camera, that is a wider view. I feel like maybe I need to go back to making it wider. But anyway, that is actually just a webcam. It is the YoloCam S3, just a little webcam connected over USB into the YoloBox. Speaking of the YoloBox, let's go back to the over rig here. And you can see this is the YoloBox Extreme, which is running everything on here. We've got all the inputs down there that you just saw. So there's the main and the wide and so on. A bunch of other inputs we'll get into later on in the show. And all the controls we have here. And of course, you can see on the back, everything that is plugged into it. That is the main meat of the Yolo gear. Now, as of 2 weeks ago show with a 2.5 update, is that where? Yeah, that was it, where we finally got BitFocus Companion support. If BitFocus Companion, if you're not familiar with it, is a open source scripting platform that allows you to control any IP-based hardware that the developers of that hardware have an open SDK on. So what that means in plain English is that you can build little buttons on like your Stream Deck, like I have over here. Let's see if I can get this into place here. Oh, I guess I can just do this. That's better. So Stream Deck, okay, it's not in focus because it's not my face, but there you go. You can put buttons on there to do things like switch camera angles, nice and simple. So I'm using this to switch camera angles here instead of doing it on the interface. But you can also run entire scripts that do a bunch of things at once, not just to one device, but to multiples. I'm a huge fan. I love it. The companion support in the YoloBox is, we'll call it primitive. It's not super advanced, but with a little bit of cleverness, you can do some cool things, which I have done. And then today, I rearranged some stuff, forgot about that. So when I hit my start thing, which I did test right before, so I knew I was gonna work, I hit my start thing and like everything went weird. I'm like, oh, that's just gonna be the way of the show today. Anyway, so that's that. If you wanna know more about that, I did talk about it in depth in last week's show. And any other YOLO-y things we want to talk about here? No, I don't think so. So today's main topics, we have 3 different things that we're going to get into about the YoloBox. These are things that you may have seen on the thumbnail. It is the ability to bring in a web page and have control of the web page from the YoloBox screen itself, which is kind of crazy cool. Then there is the guest caller setup, so you can easily bring in a remote caller, which I am going to actually, I'm going to pull in a little dangerously here. I'm going to see how many of you want to call in. We'll see what happens. And we're also going to look at the NDI feature, which is not new, but it is an incredibly powerful feature to be able to connect NDI cameras to your YoloBox. And so we're just going to talk a little bit about how you do that. So that is that. Let's see what's going on in the comments, and then we'll just move on with the actual show. So we got someone in New York. So by the way, you know, the whole map thing that was up in the beginning, welcome, New York. I guess I have to put a thing that says how to format where you are. Yeah, I need to change the text. So I've got this text that I can pop up there. I need to rewrite this so that it tells you how to write where you're from. Because the script that's built into the YoloBox now that does that whole mapping thing based off of Aaron Parexi's code does rely on you formatting it in a certain way. And I think it's hello from and then the word, the name of the country or city or state. I'm not sure how. Actually, I'm gonna have to talk to Aaron about that because I don't know how deep, how granular it goes, but we'll find out. I'll find out, and I'll try and do that for the next show. I keep saying things like that and then forgetting, but I'll try. Yeah, oh, there was comments. And then the other comment was, oh, hello from Istanbul. Omar, welcome as always. Good to see you here again. All right, so why don't we just dive on in? I actually have title cards prepared this time, and we're gonna bring up the first one, which is the web page, how you can bring up a web page on your live show and interact with it, which is crazy cool. So let's see here. If I do, I think I'm gonna have to do the camera for this, because if I do this view and then do add a video source, let's get rid of the camera of me. So okay, add video source, you see down at the bottom where it says web. So we just tap on web and then you enter in a URL. So I'm gonna get really creative here and I'm gonna put my YouTube channel. So youtube.com/PhotoJoseph. Subscribe if you're not already. Okay, excellent, I can spell and everything. Ooh, look, autocorrect, it picked me up. So we got that, hit okay, hit done. And then you can see, so now I'm gonna have to go, I'm gonna go this way, back over. So it shows up down here as a source, just like any other source in here. When I load that up, it loads up there. And of course, now you're seeing that as a full web page. So if I go back to, yes, so this is very meta. What I wanna do is show you that can I do this? Huh, that's interesting because I had done this before and I was able to get that overhead view. What did I do differently? Maybe I did it that way and then that way. Nope. Okay, well, regardless, here's what happens. I can't show it to you, but let's go back to the overhead view. When you load this up, there's a little icon up here that is a touch icon. When I touch that, then the image goes full screen on here, and I'm able to actually interact with it. So I'm going to load this up now. So now you see the web page. Now I'm touching the little finger thing that you can't see me do. And now I can interact with the web page. So I can scroll through here. I can tap on things. So watch this. I'm going to tap on this first video. It's going to, of course, play the video after it plays an ad because I'm not logged in, which is, unfortunately, one of the restrictions. You don't have a keyboard access. It's a technical limitation of why you don't. So that does mean that while you can interact with the website, you can't go in and you cannot go in and log into a website, for example. But you can drag around, touch, scroll, and so on. So I'm going to skip these ads and go back to this.
Is a lawnmower.
Now let's see
a robotic
here.
lawn. If you have a lawn,
I want to show you before I go in there. Back to this view.
This is pretty wild.
So this is up right now.
I don't have a lawn, so I am
cool. So that works. Oh, now it's okay. Now it's what I wanted to see. So now you can see the web page. I can fully interact with it. Excellent. I'm going to exit out of there from here. I'm going to go over to the volume, and if I scroll down, there is video source, and you can see that the video source actually has volume on. So whatever is coming from the web source, did I say video source? I meant web source. Whatever audio is coming from the web source can be played on there. So I suppose that should probably turn that down a little bit, and I go back to that, and now you're seeing the web page in there. And if I could probably even go full screen because I can interact with it, so I'll interact, go full screen, go full screen. Doesn't want me to go full screen. Full screen, oh, it says full screen is unavailable. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, well, full screen apparently is unavailable there, but I do have that ability to load up the video, which is kind of cool. Now, another thing that you have in here, let's go back to the overhead, and this is interesting how it sometimes works the way I want it to and sometimes it does not. Let me get out of here, go back to this, see if I can get the overhead going. Well, what I wanted to show you, I'm just going to load it up. You're not going to be able to see me doing it. What I wanted to show you is you do have an annotate feature. So when you've got the web page loaded, there's a little button that says annotate, and I can then start drawing on the screen. So I'll do that. I'm going to go ahead and get out of this view, load up the web page again. So now you're going to see the web page full screen. There we go. I am now in the interacting with it mode, and go full screen up. There we go. So now I go into annotate, and so now I could do things like draw in here and say, hey, so you should really subscribe. There's this box over here that you might want to pay attention to. There was a full screen thing down there that didn't work because I don't know why, but it doesn't want to play full screen. And I can do that. And then of course I can undo that. I can change the colors. I can turn off the annotation and so on. So that's a really cool function as well. So you have this ability to load up your website, even play video through it, which now that I've said that I'm going to, just in case anything starts playing in the background, turn off the audio on the web source, and interact with the web page and annotate on top of it, draw on top of it. I think that ability to draw on top of it is one of the coolest parts of this. Interacting with it, playing back videos, all very, very cool. That I could do with a laptop, but of course this means I don't have to have a laptop hooked up. You know, if I took a laptop, HDMI in, I could go full screen on there. But now the ability to annotate or draw directly over it, I think is a really, really neat feature. So that's what you can do in there. So you can load up a web page, you load up one web page. You can't have multiple web pages running at once. You can change the URL though, but you'll have to go in and type it in like I did there. But you can do that. So that is the web page feature. Now, let's do NDI next. We'll do NDI next. I'm going to save the call-in one for last because that's just so cool. All right, so let's talk about NDI. So first of all, what is NDI? NDI stands for Network Digital Interface, and it is essentially video. You've probably heard of SDI cables. Of course, you've heard of HDMI cables, a cable that carries video and audio. SDI is just a professional version of that. NDI is a network version of that. So essentially, you have the ability to run video across a network. So the camera itself has to be NDI capable or have an NDI box. There's a lot of companies that make, a couple of companies, that make NDI boxes. So you plug in HDMI or SDI into the box. The box has a network connection on the other end, plug that into your network, and now that becomes an NDI source. And then of course you have to have a receiver that can receive that NDI signal. Again, lots of different solutions out there for that. You can actually put NDI software on your computer, and then in the computer you can just pull it up as a source, but the YoloBox has it built in, so you can view an NDI stream in here. So what does that actually get you? What's the advantage of that over having just another wire plugged in? Well, first of all, it's additional inputs, right? You have a limited number of hardware inputs. You get more virtual inputs, if you will, over NDI. The cameras can be wired, which is of course how you're going to get the best connection, but they can also be wireless. So you can have a wireless NDI camera, which means the camera can be roaming, it can be somewhere, you know, just that's not connected to the physical network, but is on Wi-Fi connected to the network. So that's pretty awesome. But also because it can be a camera that's anywhere on your network, it can be really, really far away. Now, you might be thinking, well, how big is my house? How big is my office or studio? But think about a big corporate type office. You're at, I don't know, Apple or Cisco or whatever, some huge company where they have their own intranet, you know, full LAN, everything's connected. You could connect a camera from another floor, another building, another campus even, if it's all connected. So then you can connect that camera, bring that camera in directly. So think about it like you do you run the weekly CEO's address to the company, and you're gonna be on your YoloBox in your broadcast room, and the CEO's up in his office. You got a nice camera up in the office up there with an NDI connection, and you can pull that in without having to run dedicated SDI cables or satellite or anything weird through across campus. NDI just runs over your existing network. So that's what NDI is, just in case you didn't know. So with that said, now let's see how to connect it. So what I'm gonna do, let's see here. I have already an NDI camera hooked up. That's this one up here. This is a Mevo cam. This is my rear camera. But I normally, if you've seen the show before, would have an outside camera hooked up. I've got the camera ready to go, but it is not yet in NDI mode. So again, you have to have a camera that has NDI. I'm just going to show you how you would set up the NDI on the Mevo cam, because that's what I have. And then I'll show you how to connect to it in the YoloBox, which is so simple that you think, well, there has to be more to it, but there really isn't. The hardest part is actually getting NDI working on the camera. Go figure. So with that said, let me put my phone on Do Not Disturb and fire up the Mevo software, and then I will show you what this looks like. Have a quick look at the comments here. Oh, I should have done, I guess I totally forgot to put up the NDI slide earlier. Well, there you go. Better late than never. Okay. Were there any comments that I want to hit before I go? No. Okay. So, why is it, I don't want to update it. Isn't it funny how you do a bunch of stuff in an app to get ready for something, and then you go to show it to someone, it's like, oh, do you want to update? No, 5 minutes ago you could have asked me to update, but not now. All right, so this is let's go for the top-down view. Let's pull this over here, pull this a little bit closer, and overhead. Okay, this is focus on there. This is just the Mevo, what is it, not the Mevo Multicam app, what is this one called? This is actually called the Mevo Studio app. So this is the Mevo Studio app, and you can see my outside camera. It is currently available in the Mevo app. You can see that my shoulder camera, which is the one you saw earlier, that would be this camera, is kind of visible in here, but it's also not because it's in NDI mode. So what I need to do is I need to put this camera into NDI mode. So the way I do that is I go into, it's kind of weird. You go into image control, and then you go down to the bottom here. You can change, zoom and all kinds of things. Then you go into settings, and then you toggle NDI mode. And before I turn it on, you'll see that you do have different resolutions you can choose from and bit rates you can choose from depending on the capabilities of your network. So I'm just going to leave it where it was. Go back to that again, back into the settings. And what else do we have in here? Custom bit rates, discovery server if you need. You don't need to do that. You don't need to do this for this simple setup. So I'm going to leave that as it is. Can I go back without? It just wants to go all the way back. How tedious. Let's go back to here one more time. And this time we're going to turn it on. So I turn on NDI mode. It says the camera will disconnect. So by enabling NDI outside, that's the name of the camera, will be disconnected from Mevo Studio. So I do that, and you can see here now it is no longer available there. All right, so it'll take a moment for the camera to reboot and get itself into the mood to do this. But what I do next is I go on the YoloBox. I go down to add video source, so just like you normally would. So I add a video source here. And then I have NDI. So here's NDI right here. You can see that I'm circling it. So I tap on NDI. It gives you a little bit of information, and it immediately starts scanning. And at this point, I don't have to do anything except wait, and there it is. So now it's repeating the first camera, so I don't know which one I've already loaded, so I'm going to take a wild guess and hope that it's that one. Tap done. You see it has loading up down here, and there it is. There's the outside camera, so I tap on that, and that's it. That is literally all that it takes. It is so easy to get an NDI camera up and running that it almost feels like that was too easy. I must have forgot something. So super, super cool. Again, very, very handy thing to be able to integrate. Now you can also, I see that we've got, let's see here. Well, actually, I'm probably the comments here. So Omer says, I've tried NDI with the Ozbot Tail Air and can control the PTZs, which is good. Planning to activate my NDI feature soon. So yeah, some cameras you have to pay extra to get NDI capability because it's a license thing, right? The manufacturer of the camera has to license it from the NDI consortium. No, who owns it? Not Telestream. Who owns NDI? Doesn't matter. They have to license it. So quite often they pass that on to you as an optional paid feature so that everybody doesn't have to pay for it, only those who do. Others just build it in. So it is not an add-on feature for the YoloBox Extreme. It is built into it, so you don't have to pay extra to activate it. It's already there. And you can, you can do it from your phone, right? You can even put an NDI streaming app on your phone and integrate your phone into it that way, which is crazy cool. But I'm going to show you another way to do that in just a moment here. All right, so is there anything else about NDI we want to talk about? Super convenient, super easy to set up. I mean, it's kind of all there is to it. It's just easy and it's awesome. So with that in mind, let's move on. Let's move on. This is going faster than I expected it to. The guys at Yolo had asked me to show 4 features today, and I said, we're just going to do 3, and now I'm feeling like I probably had time to do 4. But I'm not prepped for it, so we're only going to do 3. But that's okay, because we're going to spend a lot of time on guest caller, because guest caller is super, super cool. So first of all, it's called guest caller, so your obvious thought is, well, I'm going to use it to bring in a guest, like a podcast guest or whatever. Have it to bring somebody on to do a show with, which is great. But that's not all you can do with it, because all guest caller is really doing is allowing you remote access to another camera. Think of it like NDI, but anywhere in the world. So it doesn't have to be because you want to bring a person on. It could be because you just want to bring a camera on. So think of it like a remote news crew. You're doing some citizen journalism kind of thing. You've got someone in another city or another country and they want to report the news from there. They can send their camera, web connected, obviously, camera directly into the YoloBox, which is pretty slick. And of course you can do it all from your phone, which is what I'm going to do because that makes it the easiest. So let me show you a few things about the setup, and then I'm going to show you how you invite somebody. And when I do that, you're going to see a QR code on screen. Any of you who want to are welcome to scan that QR code and try and join. I will see everybody who tries to join. I'll see them come in. And then I choose, of course, who to come in. It's not like the people just randomly start showing up at the live show. If I know you and trust you, I am more likely to allow you access. So for those of you that have been on the show before, you know that I know you. Get your phone ready so that you can scan that QR code and do it, because I think this will be cool. But before we actually bring people in, I want to show you some of the things that you can do. Now think about, let's set this up like an interview. That's what we're going to start with. Setting it up like an interview. I'm going to have a layout, right? I'm going to have like, me and my guest, or me and a couple of guests, that sort of thing. But I don't want to be messing with that once the caller comes in. So there's a whole thing set up in here so that you can easily prep for your live callers, for your guest callers, so that when they do call in, you're ready to just drop them into position 1, position 2, whatever, and bring them onto the air. Pretty cool. And of course, they have their own audio level adjustment and all that stuff. So let's take a look at how this works. So to start, we'll go to this view, and I'm going to bring this guy right here. That is the guests feature, invite guest, you see it says. So first thing I'm going to do is enable the invite guest function. So I'll turn that on, and I can choose how many participants I want. So right now it's just set to 1, but you'll see right here this little function doohickey. I can add more callers. So I can add 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, I haven't found out. Okay, 5 is the most. So I'm going to add 5. So we've got 5 in here, which means 5 of you are going to be able to call it. That's such a bad idea. 5 of you are going to be able to call in, and you will show up in those spots there. Now, before I actually do this to bring you in, I need to build a layout, right? Like I gotta have a layout in here. So what I can do now is go back to my layouts. Let's go down here. So first of all, here you see you have individual guests. So I already have slots for all of those guests showing up in here, right? So that is already preloaded on there. So they just show up as a whole full screen viewer. But let's add a layout. So we'll add a video source. And I will do, let's choose that. Let's choose a 1+2. So we'll do, let's do this one here. We'll do 3 views. So I'm going to choose 3 views. I'm going to go main, that's me, and then I'll do guest 1 and guest 2. Tap on done. And now you can see what that layout looks like. I can add something in the back. I can change the border size. I can, whatever. I can obviously rearrange this however I would like. I can swap them around. Cool, but I'll leave it like that. That's a good default. So now I'm going to tap done to finalize that layout. And now let's add another layout in here. And this one I'll do a 4 view, and we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4 guests. So there we go. 1, 2, 3, 4 guests. Does this one have a background? This one doesn't. I can scale. Oh yeah, there we go. I can scale them down just a hair. Let's get that border on there because that's kind of cool. Put a different background on. I don't know. Ooh, it's an animated background. Even better. There we go. That's our new background. So now we've got 2. We've got this one that has me and 2 callers, and we've got this one that is just 4 different callers. So what could possibly go wrong? We're going to look at the comments before we go forward and see how many people are telling me, please don't do this. You're going to regret it. Can this all be done with the Ultra? I don't know. I honestly don't know, and I'm sorry that I don't have an answer to that. This is quite possibly an Extreme only feature. This is definitely going to require some resources. This is the box that has the most. YoloBox Ultra support remote guests. Okay, well thank you, Omar. Thank you very much. Look at that. There's the answer. I knew I could rely on my audience to answer the hard questions. Awesome, well there you go. Okay, so how do we do this? So let's go back to this view, and we'll start with that one, and I go back to my guest feature, and up at the top you see it says invite guests. So I tap on that, and there it is. So there's your QR code, guys. Go to town. There's a function, you see it says send a link to me. So obviously the YoloBox already has my email in there, so if I tap that, then I'll just get an email with a link in it right away. Or I could actually type in somebody's email address, right? I can just type this in, and sorry if you were trying to, let's get rid of that keyboard. Whoop. Go back to that. I'll come back. Then I could type in somebody else's email address and send it to them. So either way, send it to myself and forward it on, send it to them directly, let them scan the QR code off the screen, send them a screenshot of this. I could take a picture of this and send it to them, whatever. Lots of different ways to go about doing it. So with that in mind, now there is going to be, this is going to be interesting because there is a delay in, of course, the live stream. But in my test, the actual connection to the remote camera is quite quick. So I'm going to leave this on for a few more seconds, then I'm turning it off. And so we'll see how that works out. I would say that whoever's, okay, I'm canceling this now. Whoever is trying to call in, do turn down the volume on your own, your computer. Be ready to turn it down or have headphones on so that we don't get any feedback loop. And it's going to be quite a bit of a distance in there. So I guess that's that. So now I'm just waiting to see people call in. So let's show you what that looks like. I'm going to go to the, actually I guess I can do it from, I'll do it like this. The overhead view in here. And once people start coming in, they're just going to show up on here. That's how that works. So I'm just waiting to see who's going to call in. So I'll just take this off screen right now and I'll yammer away while we're waiting. Go back to the comments and see if anybody's got anything else to say. Not yet. So I'm waiting for someone to call in. I guess this shows us how much of a delay that there is. What I'm going to do after we do this little part of it is I'm going to connect to my own phone. Obviously, we don't know what the overall experience is going to be like as far as the delay and so on. So we're going to find out. But that's what we're going to do. So I'm just waiting to see if anybody calls in. Is nobody going to call in? Or am I just too far behind? We're waiting. We're waiting. We're waiting. I guess I may as well add myself in then, so we have something to show on here. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it via the QR code. May as well. So I'm going to go in here, scan the QR code with my phone. Immediately recognizes, opens up in a browser. Oh, right, it does want you to use Safari. I forgot about that. So I'm going to copy that link because I don't use Safari and open that in Safari. I don't know what happens if you scan this on Android, which browser it tells you to use. Paste and go. Let's cancel that. The camera wants access, so it's just asking me for access to, I'll just show you how this looks. There we go. Access to the microphone and the camera, so I tap allow. And I can see me, I can see my microphone, I can go sideways on there. I can also choose the camera, so if I go into settings, I can choose which camera that I want. So I'm going to switch it over to one of the back cameras. Let's go back, dual camera, I'm not quite sure which one is which here. Back dual camera, there we go. So we can see what that looks like. And guest name, we're going to call it PJ1 and tap join event. So now, since nobody else is calling in, oops, what did I just tell you guys? About the volume, and I went and messed that up myself. Okay, let's turn that down. Where's my guests? Interesting. Huh. Well, I'm not seeing, so maybe some of you are calling in, and I'm just not seeing anybody show up here, which is weird because that absolutely 100% worked in testing. Do I have to actually send one? No, because no, that worked. But I'm not seeing my own access in here. Okay, I'm going to delete one of these. Well, this always makes for a great demo, doesn't it? Make sure this volume's down all the way. Interesting, because I absolutely 100% did this and it 100% worked, and I saw it show up on there when I connected. And I'm seeing myself here, so it is coming through, but it's not showing up on here. Well, I don't know about you guys, I get a little tired of this stuff. Why isn't that working? Well, okay, I'm going to bring this all the way down to 1, because that's how I tested it earlier. It was with just 1. I'm going to turn it off and back on again. So sorry if you were trying to call in, or if you had called in. Let's go back to this view. I'm going to enable it again, invite guests, reload it on my computer, on my phone. Close this tab, scan again. Ah, and 1 just came in. Ilya is now, okay, so here you can see, oops, wrong one, here we go. 1 has just come in. I don't know why the other one didn't, but Ilya has come in, so I'm going to go ahead and choose, well, I would choose, so I only allowed 1 guest now, so I would choose which one it's going to go to. He's going to go to guest 1 slot. He's going to go to guest 1 slot. I'm going to add that in, and I'm going to have to put on headphones so I can hear. I'm going to have to put on headphones so I can hear. And let's do remote. So, Ilya, do you hear me? Ilya, do you hear me? I'm not hearing you. I'm not hearing you. I'm going to go ahead and increase participants in case somebody else calls in. Okay, so Ilya seems to be, he's not talking, so I'm not quite sure. Nope, and now he's out. Well, now the demo that didn't quite go to plan. I don't know about that. Very curious indeed. Well, we'll see if some others just suddenly miraculously pop in, but I couldn't get myself on there, so I guess I'll try one more time to add my own phone in, since that's what I was in the process of doing. Let's do that again. Scan that. Oh, right, I have to copy that over to Safari. Paste that in. Allow. So I am on here. We're now waiting to see if I show up on here. So far it's not doing. I don't know. I don't know. Worked earlier. That is too bad. Okay. Well, I guess we're just going to move on. So, the other thing that I wanted to show you, well, there's nothing else on the Yolo I wanted to show you. I did have a cool pick of the week, which is actually a revisit of one of the very first ones that I did. So let's go ahead and bring up that little card. There we go, show pick. So this is something that I use absolutely every day. Oh, and Ilya's trying to call back. Okay, Ilya's coming back again. All right, we're going to revisit this. So show you what that looks like. So we see Ilya. I'm going to choose him to guest 1, hit done, add him in, pull those up. Let's see here. His audio is on, but I'm still not hearing anything from you. Oh, I heard something.
Hi. Hi, PhotoJoseph.
Hello, there we go. Okay, it's working.
Yeah.
Now it's working. All right, let me turn up my volume here. I just realized that I need to figure out how to do a mix minus on my headphones, which I do not currently have set up. So I hear myself. But Ilya, go ahead and say something. Tell us who you are.
Hello. Hello, PhotoJoseph. I'm amateur. I'm try to learn with all broadcasting stuff. I'm start learning what is ATEM, Blackmagic stuff, and I have ATEM Extreme G2.
Oh, the G2. Cool.
Yes, and try to do different live events from some volunteering stuff in our community.
Very good. I just threw you up full screen so we can see how good the quality is. You look like you're at work.
And now I'm just go to volunteering. And I'm just go to booths to don't have noise.
Thank you for that. Well, this does work. So where are you calling us from?
I'm calling from Denmark.
Denmark, okay. All righty. Well,
And,
it definitely...
yeah. I have a little bit luck for you. Maybe it's my side, maybe it's your. It's a little bit interesting to talk. I can make screenshot and show how I see program. Like I see program in stream back from you.
Right, that's what you should see.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you get the program. So the caller gets the program so they would know if they're on air or not. They would know that their signal is working and so on. So yeah, that's definitely what you should see. And I realize that, so I'm hearing myself. I need to figure out how to do a mix minus on here, which has to be programmed into this. I just didn't even think of about that until I did it. So if anybody knows how to do a mix minus, tell me so I can switch this. Otherwise my head's going to explode. So, okay, somebody said they got a prompt saying the guest limit had been exceeded. Others said I tried joining and can't join, try connecting and can't join. But again, it was the only one that actually showed up on here. Even my own call-in didn't show up on there, so I don't know why or what that's all about.
I have a lot of problem with prompting permissions. Like allow camera, allow mic. First time I joined, I permission denied and all stuff from browsers.
Oh. Yeah, that's a phone thing. Are you on an iPhone?
Yes.
Yeah, so first time you do that with any web browser, it's going to ask for permission for everything, which is kind of tedious, but yeah. But once you're connected, once you have permission, you should have permission if you were to call in again. Okay. Let me go see, is anybody else trying to get in? No, nobody else is trying to get in.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for all viewers. And see you next time and be online and on chat. Thank you.
And thank you. Appreciate it. Go ahead and disconnect. I want to see what happens when you disconnect. And it's just like that. Okay, and he's out. Perfect. I'm going to take the headphones off and definitely need to figure out how to do a mix minus. All right, well, so it worked for one caller, but a bunch of people said they couldn't get in. Someone said the maximum had been reached, and I couldn't get in with my own phone. So very strange indeed. I guess I was in the process of connecting. Let's see if I can get back to that. So I'm renaming myself in here, PJ2, join event. So now it's showing up on here. So now we can see it has shown up this time. So I'll show you the other part that I wanted to show you. So I'll go to guest 2 for myself on here. So now instead of using, it's funny because even though the volume is set all the way down, I can still hear myself. Oh, interesting. It insists on being up a tiny bit. I'm getting a little bit of feedback here, but not much. Anyway, so I'm going to set this camera to be a front camera. That's what I was in the process of doing before. Or back camera, I guess. So say back camera. All right, and now I can bring this up. Oop, confirm. I'll go sideways. There we go. And now you've got the view through my iPhone. Now, interestingly, when I tested this earlier, so you're going to have, you might be having double audio actually. Let's see here. If you mute that, go to the audio settings, and PJ2, that's me. There you go. Yeah. So you should be able to hear me now through just the phone. I have muted my mic that I was wearing. Make sure that's muted. If that's muted, so you're not getting double. So this is what it looks like, excuse me, on my own network. But this also means that I can take it and walk around. So that's kind of the cool thing about this, right? So you can bring this out as a remote camera. Now I am on the Wi-Fi, but earlier I had set it over to the just cellular, just see how that works, and it worked out fine. But now as I turn my camera around, I'm seeing the view. Interestingly, so if I wave my hand in front, there's like a little less than a second, between a half and 1 second delay. So that's pretty darn good, actually. And yeah, so that works. Now, don't know why it didn't work before. Don't know why all of you couldn't get in, but at least it worked this time. So there we have that. All right, so now let's switch this back. And I'm going to go back to this, disconnect. Oops. There, sorry, I just wanted to get the right audio set up so I wasn't double tapping you guys. Oh, and closed, okay. So, maybe not as smooth as it could be, but it works. So we were moving on. We were moving on to the show pick. So I'm gonna throw that slide up there again since we totally side railed off of that. The pick that I'm showing is, actually, let's take a look at the comments. Anything new? Okay. The pick of the week is a tool that I use literally every day, multiple times a day on my computer, and that is the screenshot software, Screenshot X. And I did talk about this in one of the earlier shows, but I wanted to talk about it again because it is just so awesome. Let me just pull up a web page on here so I have something to actually snap a screenshot of, and then we'll have some fun with it. So let's just go to the Apple website, nice and neutral, and take a look at the computer, find my computer view. Black. Oh, did I turn off mirroring? Sorry, let me check. I had this, I think it's just, which one is it? I forget which one it is. Too many cables, probably should start labeling these things. Come on, displays. Sees the display. Mirror, stop mirroring, and mirror again. Let's see if that wakes it up. Just gonna unplug the computer, plug it back in. When all else fails, unplug it and plug it back in. It's a good thing about laptops. At least when you unplug it, you don't lose power. All right, there you go. It's negotiating, it's thinking, it's seeing, and now I realize that I have set this to not mirror. Isn't there a keyboard shortcut to get mirroring, to toggle mirroring? There used to be. Oh, it's okay. I just got to find my mouse. It's in the menu bar, and mirror or extend. Come on. Come on. I guess I'll turn off mirroring and then turn it back on. There we go. It's always frustrating when things just don't work anymore the way that they were before, isn't it? It is. We're gonna have to do the whole unplug and plug it in again, this time just the HDMI. Okay, it wants to mirror. It's thinking of mirroring. See, look, it is thinking of mirroring. Now I can choose what I'm gonna mirror. All right, mirror or extend to. We want to mirror. Choose content, just mirror. Mirror the MacBook Pro. Kenyon calling in. Kenyon, I think we're gonna go ahead and knock off trying to call in again. Sorry about that. I see you're calling in now, but I appreciate that. We're moving on from that, but thank you for trying. It's interesting that they're popping up now and it wasn't before. Don't know what to tell you. Okay, so now we have, now this mirroring's not working. You had one of those days? Apparently this is one of them. I think it has, oh. I think what just happened was I somehow chose to mirror this screen. It's a problem when you have computers that are just named MacBook Pro. I mirrored this screen to my MacBook Pro that's sitting over there instead of to the YoloBox. Go figure. All right, last chance. Mirror or extend to this. Yes, that's what it is set to. It is set to that. Choose content. Entire screen. Start mirroring. Yes! We have success. Okay. Okay. All right. So screenshot X. Well, first of all, just triggering it. So when you very first set it up, it'll guide you in like replacing your default Mac keyboard shortcuts for screen capture. So Command-Shift-3 for whole screen, Command-Shift-4 for part of a screen. You can of course do different ones. You don't have to, but you know, why use both? So if I want to do a partial screenshot, so I'm going to hit Command-Shift-4 and then the crosshair comes up. You'll notice, I'm going to hit escape. Notice that my desktop icons went away. So Command-Shift-4, desktop icons go away, and that is controllable. I can set that to happen or not to happen. I can also, and this I love, I can set it to freeze the action on screen. If you ever try to get a screenshot where there's something happening and you're trying to get that moment where that one thing happens, well, but so that means you have to like get ready to do the screenshot and you drag over and try to get the screenshot at just the right time. Well, here you can set it so that when you hit the shortcut, Command-Shift-4, whatever, it freezes the screen. You can also have it so that it includes or doesn't include the mouse in your screenshots. But anyway, so we're just going to do a simple screenshot here. I'll get part here. I'm going to do it like this. I'm going to do this whole web page here, but you notice I got it kind of off center. Okay, so that pops up down here in the bottom corner, which I can now just copy. I can just drag this directly into somewhere. I can save it, and then it'll save it to the desktop. I can pin it. Now, this pinning feature is super useful. Maybe not so much for this. Let's just say, I don't know, I'm going to do a smaller one. I want to see, I'm trying to match this font or something. I don't know. So now I pin this, and now I have this floating screenshot that I can move around. I can actually resize it and do other stuff with it, but this stays wherever you put it, and you notice that it stays on top of whatever else I'm doing. So I use this, I can't even tell you how many times a day I use this. Say I'm in Resolve, I'm editing, and I want to make sure that the settings that I have on this thing match over here. I don't know, sometimes you can copy and paste them. I'm just making this up. So I take a screenshot of the settings, and then I pin it so it's floating. And then I can go do whatever else I'm doing, then pull up that screenshot, and now I've got those settings right there. I can look at them and then discard it when I'm done. Stuff like that I do all the time. I was just doing accounting today, and I'm looking at some numbers that don't make sense and they're making my head hurt. So I did a screenshot of that, pulled up something else to compare them, and now I'm looking at the, whatever, two things side by side, my screenshot and the numbers that were somewhere else, and comparing them. Brilliant. So many times you just need a temporary, just grab this. Can I just hold onto the screen for a minute here so I can look at it in 30 seconds somewhere else? I use that a dozen times a day, at least. Cool. Okay, so the stuff like that. Let's do, let's go get rid of that little floating guy, and let's annotate. So I want to get rid of this. I just swipe. Actually, this is cool. Before I show that, if I swipe down, they'll all hide out of the way. Because if I have a bunch of screenshots, right, I'll just do another and another and another. They start to build up on here. But you can swipe down, and they all kind of hide away. Tap on that to bring them all back. Get rid of one, just swipe away to get rid of it. Cool, cool. So this is the one I want to work with. So I click on this little pencil button, little annotate button, and that shows up now as in an annotation tool. And I can do things like crop it. I can mark things up. I can go, this is the thing that you need to pay attention to. Draw an arrow on here. This is what I want you to look at. And of course, all these you can change colors and sizes and all this stuff. I can blur things like, ooh, that's sensitive information. Let's hide that out, and that's not much of a blur, so let's make that a little bit more blurry. There we go. So we can hide out sensitive information. Super useful if you're sharing, again, financial stuff, screenshots of banking data, I don't know, whatever. Again, use it all the time. You can also make these look really pretty. So this is cool. If I go over here and hit the right button here, yep, open this up. Now I've got a palette of other things that I can do with this. So if I want to make this just look a little bit nicer, I could, for example, put this kind of inset. I can auto balance, so it puts the same size border around everywhere. I guess it didn't really work for this screenshot so well, but auto balancing often works very, very cool. I can kind of round my corners on there, and I can put another background behind it, and I can put, you know, a drop shadow underneath it. You just do all these things to make really, really pretty screenshots. And then you can save those as presets so that you can call it up, you know, at any time. It's just this super incredibly useful tool. Now, at any point, let me just close this out. You go, oh, there was that screenshot that I took a while ago and it's gone. You have a saving tray, screenshot tray, and my keyboard shortcut to bring it up is I hit Command Option Control Z, and there's all the recent screenshots. And you can choose, of course, how far back this goes, but I can go back through here and see all the screenshots that I did earlier today or yesterday or whatever. And I can filter these, you know, videos or GIFs that I did screenshots of, all this other stuff that I can do in here. It's just super, super useful. Again, it's one of these tools that I use all the time. It's so critical to my daily workflow that it's one of those very first things that I set up in a machine when I do. So there is a link to this down below. There's two different ways that you can get it. There's a link just to get it directly, right? You can do that, you can buy it. Or, I've talked about this before, I'm using this thing called SetApp. SetApp is one of those where you pay a monthly subscription and then you get access to tons and tons of different apps. So if I look at my SetApp and I look at my apps, you can see the ones that I'm using. So these are the SetApps that I'm currently using on this machine. On another machine, I have some other ones installed as well. So just super useful. Paste there being one of the other unbelievably useful, use it all the time tools. Anyways, links to both of these down below. Super helpful, super useful. This is Mac only thing. Screenshot X is Mac only. SetApp, I think SetApp itself is Mac only. Sorry guys, but there you go. So that's my pick of the week. All right, let's see if there's anything else going on in the comments, and then we're going to bail on this thing. Am I still accepting guests? No, but I guess we got time. Let's do the guest thing one more time. Let's go ahead and do it. And not sure if I missed it. Are you sending audio through a connected camera? If we're talking about when the guest was up, when they were just using their phone, we could hear him. We could hear Ilya through his phone. When I had my own phone connected, then you're hearing me through my phone. That's why I muted my mic. But that's how that works. So let's go ahead and go back to the guest. Let's just do it one more time. I'm going to go ahead and enable 4. Okay, so 4 of them are enabled now. Right, there we go. So we got 4 of them enabled. Invite guests. So there's the QR code. Go ahead and scan that. And we'll try again. I don't know if the QR code or the URL has changed. I didn't turn it off and back on, so it shouldn't have changed the URL, so you should be able to connect again if you just refresh the old one if you had tried before. And we're gonna see what happens. So I'll leave this up for a moment, and then I will switch this off, and we'll see if anybody calls in. Now that people are asking about it, we're gonna try again. All right, I'm gonna give this about 10 more seconds, and then we're cutting that off. Should have got my water. Close enough. Cancel. Okay, so that's off screen. Now I'm just gonna leave this up. We're waiting to see if the guests pop up, which is what they're supposed to do. Take a look at the comments while we're waiting for that. No audio from my microphone. Oh, what, now? There's no audio? No, you've got audio. Check. Yeah, you've got audio. Oh, thank God. I thought for the last 20 minutes I was silent. That'd be bad. All right, here we got one coming in. Let's go to this view. Steve from Arkansas. Excellent, Steve. So I'm going to load you in. Did anybody figure out how to do a mix minus? So you're going to be guest number 1. And if I pull this up, there we are. If you rotate sideways, then you'll fill the screen there. And I hear sound coming through, so I must be able to hear you. Say something.
Hey there now.
Hey there now.
Yes, this is Steve from Arkansas, and longtime viewer. You're one of my favorite guys I like to watch.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
As you can see, I have a YoloBox set up as well.
Yes, you do.
And, you know, to do the show that I do. And, you know, here, trying to get all my stuff together. And
awesome.
I've been saying, I was kicking back watching TV or something like that, and I decided, you know what, let me even try to get on his show and see if I can. And because I really love the YoloBox, and I love the call-in guest feature. And, you know, it works. And excuse my lights and stuff like that. I guess I probably should turn them out. And,
no, not at all.
Go back to the the regular way that I do it. But hey, just wanted to say, man, I enjoy your tutorials, all the fun that goes with it. Never thought that I'd probably come on and talk to you live myself. So shout out to that situation.
Well, I appreciate you calling in. Now, since you've used this feature before, did you have the issue that I've been having here where the callers just don't show up?
Usually, sometimes if they have an Android phone, is some of the ones that I've been experiencing. You know, a lot of lag and stuff like that. And usually I try to reboot the whole system before I even try. And but then I noticed you had some mixed minus situations.
Yeah, since you do it, how do you do mixed minus? Because right now I hear you, but I'm hearing myself, and obviously it's driving me crazy.
Well, what I do is I turn the little headphone thing on the easiest way that I did, the little headphone marker on in the audio, I just turn it off. And but long as I have my headphones on and everybody else's audio is on, I hear everyone except myself.
There we go. I forgot that you could do that. There you go. So I've just done that now. Thank you very much. So that what he's talking about, folks, let me pull this screen up here, is on this view where we have control of the audio. So the one labeled mic, that's me. And all I had to do is turn off my own headphones on there, and that took care of that. So thank you, sir. I knew that was there, but in the heat of trying to figure this out, I could not figure that out.
Oh, yeah, you know how it is in the heat of battle. And, you know, one thing I just want to say, you know, since we're talking about YOLO boxes, I come from the broadcast industry. I'm used to using switchers, Ross, Grass Valley, and have been using these things in the live world of production for years. And what makes it so cool that this YOLO box down here does all of that. And as crazy it may sound, they're just on the desk now. And, and because of the simplicity of the situation.
Yeah.
And, you know, what I would really want to figure out, what I want to do is to be able to hook YOLO boxes together and be able to do this live situation like we're doing right now from my YOLO box talking into your YOLO. And I was thinking about that this morning on how that could be done. I know there's a way.
Yeah.
Is that too much?
No, because it's not an SRT stream, so it's just a simple, Can you, yeah, I don't know.
You know,
interesting.
I mean, I could send an output somewhere, but you know,
right.
Zoom and some of the other guys that I usually use, but you know, hey. You know,
yeah, so if I add a new destination, I can add RTMP, SRT, or HLS, but that's not what these are. So, interesting. I don't really know.
It is. It is. But that's just something I'm going to be working on. And but I will say that everybody your tutorials are bomb.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I keep adding new layouts here just to try things out. So, you know, how quickly we can do that. That's cool. And it would be cool if it would pull in your name, because I saw your name came in when, let's go back to this UI. Go back to the caller page.
Yeah, there's so a little box where I can type it, or you can adjust it in the little camera setting or the input settings. You can go there to rename the input. That's about, you know, that's the way I do it. And then if you need to do a graphic, you can just do the overlay graphic and type it in right there.
Right.
I love the simplicity.
Yep. Yep. It's cool that it shows, so people are seeing the UI right now. I guess you can tell that. So when you came in, you were no longer guest one, and immediately popped up and changed to Steve from Arkansas. So that's really cool.
Yeah, because I typed that in at the beginning. There it is, right there in 4 box.
Yeah, we got the 4 up, but there's no 2 other people, and I'm wagering some people are trying to get in. So.
Yeah, I'm surprised that I got in, and because you're a celebrity in my world. And I know I sound like a fanboy.
I appreciate it.
But, you know, down here in Arkansas, I'm still looking for folks to share with, you know, the production experience. You know, I've been retired for about 3 years from the broadcast world. 30 years of television, my friend. 30 and punching out newscasts every day.
Wow.
But now I get a chance to do stuff myself.
Right, now you can do by yourself what used to take a studio and $1 million to do.
Yeah, tell me about it. I mean, I remember a long time ago being called down to the loading dock to see the brand new switcher, the big Sony, $250,000 switcher, and we're all sitting there amazed and wow, and now for a few, you could get switchers for a few $100 or a few $1,000, depending on how you want to fly. And I knew myself I wanted the simple, the easy way to fly where I can do a complete solo operation. And this YoloBox gets it done for me. Like I said, the others, I love these guys. I love the Blackmagic stuff. I love the OC stuff. But they're on the bench.
That they are.
I hope they don't get mad at me. I love you, Blackmagic.
Fair enough.
That's the deal, my friend.
All righty.
That's the deal.
Well, I'm glad you called in. I'm glad that you were able to connect, and we hear you pretty well here. And thanks for telling me how to do that. That's something I just forgot about. So thank you. It's much easier to talk to you when I'm not listening to myself on Echo.
All righty then. Well, there you go, sir. Thank you very much for having me on. And shameless plug talking with Mr. Steve on YouTube.
No problem at all. Take care, my man. Be well.
All righty then.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, so that's how that works. That's pretty good. And then I can just turn him off. Yep, cut him off. Yeah, cool. All right, well, that works. So again, I don't know if other people are trying to call in. Let me know in the comments if more people were trying to call in and couldn't get in, because it looked like a couple said they were going to try to, but anyway. Okay, so going back through here. So Kenyon Tech has clarified what they're asking. Are you sending audio through the connected camera? You mean the audio from my microphone? No. So I'm just using a little Rode Wireless here, and the receiver is plugged into, I can do this like this. Receiver is back here, so it's plugged in this little red wire. So that's how I'm doing it today. Depending on what else I'm doing, sometimes I will use the mixer, the Rodecaster 2, Rodecaster Pro, put that up here and mix audio through there. I kind of change it up every show just depending on what else is going on. But no, this is just routing through here, which means then that the audio is, which is where I had control because of what we just learned, what I just learned. Where are we? Here we go, audio. So I had to mute my audio there for the headphones. And perhaps you're asking that question because you wanted to know how to help me, in which case that was what I needed. All right, back to the comments. And that's it, just says new comments. Nope, that was it. Okay, and then we're gonna wrap it up there. So, interesting show, didn't quite go as planned. Not the first time, definitely not the last time it's gonna happen. But thank you for those of you who did call in, and for all those who tried to call in and don't know why, but there we have it. So with that, we're gonna knock this thing out. Thank you very much. Go watch my videos that I recently published. I published a video. Who wants to hear the story about the lawnmower? So I did a video that was just published yesterday? Yeah, yesterday, about a robot lawnmower. And I'm sure people are like, why is he making videos about robot lawnmowers? So here's the story. The company, Ecovacs, that makes that, they reached out to me and said, hey, we want you to do video on our lawnmower. And I'm like, my camera channel. And they go, yeah, we know, but we really want you to do one on this. I'm like, no, that doesn't fit. No one's gonna watch it. Oh, we really want you to do it. I go, okay. I decided I'm gonna take the approach that Armando took with a pool cleaner video that he did, like a robotic pool cleaner a couple years ago, where he basically made a commercial about the pool cleaner. And the video that you watched was a video about the making of that commercial, but in the process of that, you learn about the pool cleaner. Now, this is a brilliant approach. That's what I'm gonna do. And they go, okay, great. So, all right, ship it to me. Here's my address. Oh, we're not shipping to Europe. Even though they do ship in Europe, but this agency I was working with didn't want to ship here. I go, well, okay. So my dad lives in South Carolina. I'm probably going to visit him in the spring. And so, all right, so we arrange it so that they ship it to him, and I'm going to do the video when I'm there. When I do the video when I'm there, for a variety of reasons, the commercial side of it didn't turn out the way that I wanted it to. I had technical issues with the shooting and timecode sync and other stuff that just made that whole part of it too complicated. I ended up not getting the footage that I really wanted. And when I'm editing it, I kind of had a commercial, but I didn't love the commercial. And so I'm watching the video going, how can I yank the whole commercial part out of it? And I'm looking at my intro, and my intro that I recorded was me saying, so I'm making a video about making a video, blah, blah, blah. And I explain the whole thing. And I'm looking at it closely, and I go, if I take this out, and I take that, and I rearrange this, and I finally crafted it without, which took too much effort, but I finally figured out how to craft it so that it was no longer about making the video. And they just made it about the lawnmower, and I know people are like, why are you doing this video about the lawnmower? Well, now you know why. But of course, I couldn't put that part in that video, so I'm telling you here. It is, however, a very cool robot lawnmower. If you're into that sort of thing, I wish I had a lawn just so I could have this lawnmower, because it's really cool. Go watch that video. It's fun. It's only 5 minutes long. Okay, that's it. Now we really are going to leave. Thank you very much, everybody. I'm going to put up the viewer credits here at the end, and we're going to say goodbye. So take care, everybody. Bye-bye.